Yo, we are the Upon Further Review, here to talk about Last of Us, Season 2, Episode 3, The
The
Path,
path.
all spoilers. And yeah, we weren't here last week. You want to touch about last week's episode real
Oh
quick before we
man,
get
yeah, I
started?
wasn't here. Yeah, I wasn't here last week for I was still WrestleManiaing it up or whatever. And when I finally saw the episode, I told Rashad, I texted Rashad and was like, well, they said, well, let's go ahead and get this out the way. We're not gonna draw this out. We ain't gonna make this no penultimate episode. We're just gonna go ahead and get this out the way. I was like, Pedro said, hey. I got press tours and I got stuff to shoot, baby. He says, I got stuff to shoot. I got Mandalorian and Grogu, and I got Fantastic Four to do. Let's wrap it. I know what's supposed to happen to me. Let's go ahead and wrap this baby up right here. If we see, we got the kill part, any flashback scenes, it's gonna probably I think it is a few flashback scenes we're
Yeah, it
going
will
to
be.
see with him and Ellie, man. But yeah, I mean, that was that episode last week, just real quick, was very visceral.
Yeah.
And it was visceral and it you know what it gave me, Rashad? Especially just two separate things. The confrontation between Abby and Joel was very visceral. And then the confrontation with the cordyceps and the village, that was giving me almost like Battle of the Bastards. Not quite, but there, yeah, right there. Because the one thing I loved about Battle of the Bastards was you was you was in the, as they say in the army, you was in the ish. You was in the thick of it right there, and you saw a lot of you know what I'm saying, in the thick of it with that. And I think that was shot great. That was a great battle. Apparently, going back and reading stuff online, people that played the game, they said you always heard about the Battle of Jackson, but you never saw it in the game. It never played out in the game.
Oh.
So the creator of the game and basically producer of the shows was like, I wanted to make sure that we showed, you know what I'm saying, showed this on TV. And and then too, people were also saying they were doing side by side comparisons, especially when Abby was on her run, that kind of was like almost beat for beat, especially when the gate collapsed in on her and she was scrolling, you know what I'm saying? It really did give that video game, first person video game feel to it. So, this goes back to what we said last year, after the first season, probably the best adaptation of a video game to a movie. I'll give second place to Mario Brothers just because Mario Brothers was fun. It was fun, but it won't really based off the game. But this right here, being that strictly based off the game, was very awesome. And damn, man, I mean, woo! I mean, Abby, as they say, what the kids say, we get it back in blood. Abby
Boy.
made sure she got it back. I think the thing that was so cold about it was Joel helped her, and I thought maybe they're going to change a little bit. She
I
might
was
have a
like, nah. I was like,
change up, but I
nah.
said no, they're not going to do that. And I mean, she proceeds to, Tiger Woods y'all him to death. Tiger Woods y'all. She Tiger Woods y'all. That man to
That's
death. She even
funny.
she even got raw with it and was beating him with his hand. And she Tiger Woods him so bad with the golf club, she actually broke the handle. And then she stabbed it in his neck, which is not what happened in the game, in the scene. Like in the game, she just gave one final last four, blow with, you know what I'm saying, with the golf club. And then they just smooth strolled right on out. That's the thing that got me. Did you notice that, Rashad? Like they did it. They was like, all right, we can't do what we had to do. And then too, I enjoyed too seeing that these people aren't just pure blood killers. Because you saw her crew, a couple of people in her crew was like, "Oh, girl,
Yo, can
yeah,
we get this over
this."
with?
Like, I guess the guy that's kind of like the little leader of their little pack thing. She seems like a love interest to her. He was like, "Hey," he kept saying, "Abby, Abby, hey, yo, it's wrap this up." And the girl that's kind of like the doctor, she just couldn't even look at the whole thing. So, last week episode, bravo. Great job. I would not be surprised if that episode gets nominated for something in an Emmy. I don't know, some form of an Emmy. I don't know, best action sequence or whatnot, especially with a town thing. But it's an early nod. I say it's an early nod, but great episode. And like the creator of the game said, the game is more than just Joel. I'm
Oh
saying
yeah,
something like
yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
more than just about Joel.
And
So
and that
we'll see
leads
what
us right
happens. And
into. I'm sorry, so I didn't mean to.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
No,
that
you're good.
leads
This
us.
leads right into episode 3.
Yeah, man, because ironically, it's a 3 month jump too. So this show
Yeah,
loves the time jump, right?
yeah,
So 3 months later,
yeah.
we have the town of Jackson Hole. It's springtime, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And they're rebuilding. You know, they showed a quick scene earlier from like just like the aftermath of
Oh
of
yeah.
the battle, and then a quick jump to 3 months later, and we
Could you,
see.
let's just say real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick. I think that was a good shot or good scene they did. Two good scenes. Number one, where you see Joel's brother like
Oh
coming
yeah,
in
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
mourning and cleaning his body. Saying preparing him and
yeah,
cleaning
yeah.
his
Like the
body.
like the Irish dude from Daredevil.
Right, right. Or the Silent Sisters from Game of Thrones or whatever. You know. He cleaning his brother's body, preparing him for, his last resting spot. But the scene after that, when Ellie is like coming to, and she's looking around, and then she kind of realizes, you know what I'm saying? Like she wakes up, and then in that blood curdling scream that, what I'm saying, that she did, that Bella Ramsey did as Ellie, was just like, God dang, yo, like, ooh, she just waking up, and then even though she woke up and she was in a safe place, she was still there
Oh yeah, definitely.
at that lodge when
Yeah,
that happened. But like you
yeah,
said, here we are 3 months later, and they did a pretty good job, kind of, in 3 months clearing everything out. I'm
yeah.
gonna guess what they did was this: clear out the infected, burnt the rest of the mofos, uh, buried their dead, and in the process of burying the dead, also cleaned the town up as well and fi fix that gate first of all. That's the main thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It kind of feels like they killed all of the infected that were in that area or close by.
yeah,
Because even when later on in the episode when they're traveling, they don't meet
mhm.
no infected on their
Nothing,
way. So
nothing.
that's like a really interesting part to me as well. All
Hmm.
right, I'm gonna just speed run this little
Yeah, go ahead,
summary
baby.
because it's not a whole lot that happens this episode.
Hmm.
Um, the main tension is Ellie and Ellie trying to get her look back. That is the main tension from the time we see her in the hospital and we have
Hmm.
the therapist.
Gail.
Gail is trying to she don't care nothing about how she feeling. She's trying to figure out what
Happened.
happened and
Hmm.
what was Joel talking about. That is
Hmm.
the only thing. That's the only because she asked that question rather upfront. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Was like, so what did Joel do to you? She was like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what you talking about,
You know what it
bro.
was given to me? It was given. Does he touch you?
That's what I'm saying. So like,
Does
so
he?
she was
Does
really,
yeah,
yeah, she was
yeah.
truly trying to
Because
figure that
she
out.
already hates Joe.
That's what I'm saying.
She's doing her job, but she hates Joe. Because remember,
Nah,
Joe
nah,
killed Joe killed her husband,
yeah, because
and
that's the thing.
we supposed to find that out later.
I really think that she's trying to break down the like mythology of
Of
Joel
Joe,
as a
yeah,
person,
yeah,
just as like an act of retribution for her pot selling husband. So ends up Dina comes through because
hmm
Ellie's mad. Ellie goes into the house, sees the her old her pop's old gun and stuff. She has she's basically trying. She broke down. She's starting to cry,
I know
and
that feeling.
yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying,
know
yo.
that
So
feeling.
and
Yeah.
then the thing is, like, she never and she never really, she broke down. Like, that was the only time we seen her cry, like, this whole time. And she didn't really get a chance to have like a complete catharsis. Because she was like, she not gonna let nobody see her be quote unquote weak.
Yeah.
So
Come in.
yeah. So Dina comes out and they said she's like, look, we need to. I'm trying to do this, and Dina's like, hey, you just kind of got out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
How long? She said, when did you get out? About 30 minutes ago.
It's like, oh man, and tries to give her some peace offering cookies because she says, look, I know who they are, I know their names, and I know where they at. And she's like, shit, hey, let's go
Yeah.
now. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? She has no real plan. They end up telling what's my man's name? What's Joe's brother's name? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I
Yeah,
got you.
they end up telling him, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Well, you already know. I'm gonna have to tell Maria. It's gonna have to be a whole thing. We're gonna have to have some sort of town hall meeting about this." And that does end up happening.
And remember, he snapped at Dina too, said, don't you ever keep nothing like that. You know what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
information. Tommy.
Tommy.
Yeah,
So
he said,
so
don't you ever keep that information like that away from me again.
yeah, so Tommy ends up being again like taking his old spot as de facto leader after Big Bro passed away, and they end up having a town hall. They get shot down like 3-8, basically.
Remember, and Jesse is now on the council too.
Yeah, Jesse's on the
Over.
council too, and
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, him and they have a quick scene with him and Abby, and she's punching in the
Ellie.
heavy bag, and he's like, "Yo, you're not that bad for being in the hospital for 3 months." She said, "You doing push-ups or something?" She said, "Yeah, but they wasn't looking."
Push-ups
So
and sit-ups.
yeah, so my girl is always on her.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Yeah, get ready. Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
you know another thing I do like though, like
What's that?
that side where she got bit still hurts a little bit. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not like it's healed, but it's like so that's good that they're actually
Mm-hmm.
being some sort of realistic about it because even though it's 3 months, not only did she get bit, she also cut her skin and sewed her whole back by herself. So yeah, I'm glad
Yeah.
it has some real life
And
ramifications
then
for
when
that.
she was in the hospital too, it looked like it probably reopened too. 'Cause remember,
Definitely, yeah,
there was some stuff to it.
yeah,
So yeah.
definitely. So we get some help from an ally that we didn't know.
Seth.
Except for episode 1, who was like, "Hey,
My man Seth, the old
yeah, because
biggity Seth himself or
oh
whatever.
biggity, Seth was like, "Hey, I got a horse and supplies. I'm gonna help y'all," because he was at the town hall meeting like the
Yo, he was
angry old
about
white
that.
man.
He was about that
Yeah.
action, yo, for real.
He said,
Because
"Look, we look weak. They gonna come back and get us all." I'm like,
yeah,
that's kind of
because
fear mongering.
the people were kind of. I get where some of them were coming from. I do get it, but it kind of some people were giving lame excuses or whatever. You know, the one guy was like, "Look, I'm not a religious person, but you know, hey, forgive and forget." I'm like, you
Yeah,
telling
he
somebody
was
to
on some
forgive
like,
it?
hey man, that's what sets us apart from like, you know what I'm saying, the
Yeah,
ravages in the woods and
yeah. And then
and the
old girl was like, "Yo, we just buried our families, and we're about to 16 of our." I can understand, you know, I can understand that with the trauma, you know, what I'm saying with that trauma or whatever. But my man Seth said. No, I got something to say here. Old girl was like, "You're not on the list." He said, "No, I'm gonna say what I." He definitely was. Oh, I'm gonna say what I got to say. You gonna listen? You gonna listen to what I got to say? He just went on his little tirade, and he made a good point. If they do come back, you know, it is what it. Because Dina basically knew a lot of information about them because she was like she heard of this group before. You know, the WLF, which was the Western Liberation Front or
yeah.
whatever, aka Wolf, and she was like she's heard things about them before.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, you know,
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
things about them. So yeah, and
Nah, it was
and yeah,
like
I
they
mean,
made some compelling arguments. If I was there,
hmm
your ass ain't going nowhere. We we here.
yeah,
Jackson Hole first.
yeah,
So like
yeah,
so like but I understand that and you can tell that even Tommy was like, man, I do want to get my lick back too. But of course, he had to be calm and subdued because
You know what else is funny? We when Jesse told Ellie, look, I know you're gonna speak tomorrow. He said, just collect your thoughts and know what you want to say. And this is the first time the entire series we've seen Ellie actually be like, okay, I can't be crass, guns a blazing, impulsive Ellie in this. I have to sit down and give a compelling speech, you
I'm gonna
know,
get to that
Obama-ish type
very
speech
you
to
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
2000, when was it? 2000,
the eight
2004? No, 2004 at
yeah
the Democratic National Convention. You know what I'm saying?
yes
Yeah, yeah. I'm like,
yes being very
who's right here? He sound
yeah
good. You know what I'm saying?
yeah
But
right.
nah,
And she giving her little speech, and she wasn't impulsive, and I loved how it really was about her and Joe, but she said it's not just for me, it's not just for Joe, it's for us.
yeah. All right.
Hmm.
So as we said, they was like, hell no. And then they
That's
we,
it.
we cut to Dina and what you call it,
Uh,
you know what I'm saying? They meet up and say, yo, I got the plug. We gonna leave tonight at 3 in the morning. And of course it's
mhm.
Seth. And Ellie's still like, yo, I hate you, man. But they do end up shaking hands on it because she realizes that, hey, like, he did look out. He didn't have to look out. They go out the they go out
Mhm.
the back door and on their
The
way.
most unguarded back door I ever seen in my life
I mean,
for
but of course you already know if you know how people operate and move habitually on a pattern, you know that like, yo, I know ain't nobody gonna be back there at 3 in the morning. And,
yeah,
and they got a guard change and they sleep anyway, so yeah, we good.
yeah.
Go to the daylight breaks, they end up going to the grave.
Because he told her if he wanted to see Joe 10 miles away
Yeah,
from the city, they buried the dead.
yeah.
And she had told him when he said that she was like,
Yeah,
when we on our way to Seattle.
on my way to Seattle. You know what I'm saying? Then I go
Yeah.
visit them.
Hmm.
Drops a couple coffee beans down because that was their thing in season 1. They love some coffee, even though it's trash.
Hmm.
And ironically, they're on their way to Seattle. Of course, Starbucks is in Seattle, and
Hilarious.
on their way, they you know what I'm saying have conversation. Daggone Dina is a tease. You know what I'm saying?
Gay, gay
And
for the
very
stay.
like and almost and also very insecure
Vicarious.
as well. Like
Hmm.
or either that or
Hmm.
she's fishing for some vagina, like so bad.
Yeah.
And Ellie's like, I'm just trying to get my lick back. I'm not trying to lick you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so oh my bad. All right, so so they go on this path, right? Come back to the beginning of the episode. We see the Seraphites, and they're just a bunch
Yeah.
of religious zealots who believe in quote unquote the
Mm.
prophet, this random lady who passed away 10 years ago, and they're just living
Hmm.
off the land. They ain't got no
Hmm.
guns. I ain't even seen no bow and arrow. They just got hammers, like which
Yeah.
is just whistling and hammers like it's just the dumbest. Like they have the dumbest
Dumbest.
system, and
Yeah.
all of them end up getting murked by somebody.
Yeah.
Was it Wolf? Well, I mean, it kind of feels like it is.
It
I mean,
feels like it, but
but then again, it could be somebody else. Don't really
yeah.
know. So so Dina and Ellie end up bumping into them, and they like shit. Like dude was running away and got shot. You know what I'm saying? So they know that
Right.
whoever did that, like they just some killers.
Right. Because she said that she was like, I can't believe because Ellie automatic I can't believe Abby Group would do children, do this. Like the children, they automatically said it was them. Here's the thing I'm gonna ask you, Rashad. Dina. I think she's pregnant.
For real?
I think she's pregnant.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna say why I think she's pregnant. Because of course because earlier in the episode, Jesse had told old girl, yeah, we back together again or whatever.
Did say that, yeah.
And they say they back together. And then on top of that, when Dina was having a little moment in the tent or whatever, and they was talking, and she was saying like asking her about how was I as a kisser and all that stuff, and she was like, "Well, you're gay, I'm not. It was just something that happened, whatnot." And the reason I think she's gay, and I think she's having morning sickness,
Gay or pregnant?
because I mean, excuse me, pardon me,
You said
pregnant.
that
Thank you.
so
The hell
hard
am I
too.
talking about? I said that so
I was
hard.
like,
God,
what?
I apologize anybody I
The reason I
offended.
think she's gay.
So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like an
Right.
old
Whoa,
man
bro.
at the party.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, anybody. I meant pregnant because those were a lot of people that were there that were dead. I'm pretty sure you could smell that shit, like from the path and stuff. When
Mhm.
she got close up on it, she came back. I think that was morning sickness and probably like along with smelling that funk because Ellie got over there. You ain't see Ellie puking or nothing like. Even though we know Ellie's a hard killer, a hard killer or whatnot. But I think she might be pregnant by Jesse. That's just something I think is happening right now.
Cool. So then we're gonna get a 2-for-1 death. So they end up rolling out of there, and then
Hmm.
they get to Seattle. See Seattle.
Hmm.
And again, I always like how they show what was left behind, all the
Hmm.
cars, everything. And another small thing too, everything is period accurate. There's a bunch of
Hmm.
like old Hondas and stuff out there.
Hmm.
Like all those are definitely in the right time frame. All those are '03 or less.
2004, 5.
Ain't no 2012 Suburban around the corner somewhere. Now everything's '03 and
No.
back. I appreciate that. And it gets to
Hmm.
the city and like, hey, ain't nobody even here. I'm like, all right. So then we see some dudes, someone say, hey, yeah, you can go on patrol. He pissy mad about, I don't know, I guess kind of
But
have,
that's one of the guys. That's one of the guys from the
yeah, from the
that
group.
attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the one that actually beat Ellie ass, kicked her in the stomach and
Yeah,
stuff when he got her
yeah.
down and stuff or whatever.
He was a little
Yeah.
mad. He was a little mad back there too. So he
Uh-huh.
tells him, yeah, y'all clear to go. And we see like a heavily armed militia would look like some fresh Fedra tanks. It just
Yes.
looks real clean, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm real curious to see like how they obtain that stuff and like just what's going on with them. And it was several dozen of them too.
Was old is it me or did it seem like old dude was on the needle? He's at the top of the needle in Seattle. The little
I thought it was just like a
as a
busted up
look.
apartment building or something.
I would think that would be the perfect place because that's the highest point in the
It
city.
is.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a circular. But just I was just
I
wondering, I was like,
mean,
is that
that
the
could
needle?
have
I wasn't
been.
sure.
That could have been. I don't know. Like I hate either
Yeah.
way. Like that Seattle thing is going to be very. It's very interesting to
Yeah.
see how Dina and Ellie are
Yeah.
going to try to even attempt to get Abby. They're going to have to be covert as hell
Yeah.
because yeah, they bit off a little way more than they can actually chew on this. So.
Yeah. Even if they would have sent the 16 best, they still would have been a little more than
Nah.
they could.
It would have, they would have came back with like maybe 5-3,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
that. So yeah,
If
it would
if
have
that,
been
yeah.
a hard road to hoe for them. So all right,
Bloodbath. Hmm.
getting back to like the major question for this episode, we kind
Okay.
of touched on it just a tad, but the question is justice politically correct revenge? Because that's the argument that Ellie tries to invoke while she's doing her town hall meeting speech. She's like, "Hey man, this ain't
Yeah.
about revenge. This is really about justice. We got to get justice for Joel. Hashtag justice for Joel."
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I was really that really made me think about it because I'm like, even though deep down inside, like it's revenge to her.
Hmm.
But how many times have people say, yeah, we trying to get justice for this, justice for that, when it's really just a very selfishly motivated means to get revenge? And
Hmm.
it looks like the people there didn't buy it, but by and large, a couple, not by and large, but like there are some facets in that community who are like-minded and do want their brand of
Justice.
justice.
Also, to the conversation between Gail and Tommy. when Gail is out there watching the game or whatever. Tommy's like, I saw you at the town hall meeting, kind of left or whatever. And I think, like you said, Rashad, the reason she left is because of the idolization of Joel. Because even the lady that was like, "Hey, we just buried our people," she was like, "We love Joel, we all did." And you saw her lady face kind of like, you saw Gail face kind of be like, "Y'all love that nigga. I ain't love it." You know what I'm saying? I ain't love him. But he killed my man. He killed my man or whatever. My weed depot. You know, depot. He killed him. And they was having a conversation about, mourning and also, what I'm saying, revenge or avenge type thing like that. But yeah, yeah, the this is not saying this is a problem with the show, but this is the problem with the story here. It's a continuing arc. Revenge is a continuing arc because did Abby have a right and a reason to want to kill Joe? Yes. And now what do we got? Ellie has a right and a reason to kill Abby. And I don't know what happens next, but what happens next if Ellie does kill Abby? Is somebody from Abby crew or somebody else going to come to try to kill Ed? You know what I'm saying? Ellie. And it's just a cycle that
And
keeps
yeah,
going and going.
that's what I'm saying. So we can look at
Yeah.
this like even in modern day with like let's just say Russia and Ukraine. Like
Hmm.
they've been talking about a ceasefire for the past year,
Hmm.
and they can't agree to it because once, let's just say, Russia does something wild,
Hmm.
Ukraine does something covert that Russia ain't expecting, and
Hmm.
they just keep the beef going, And on a very small scale with this show, it just shows you that like whatever, just because you did something, don't mean that there will be repercussions and even retribution for your
Hmm.
acts. And I think this kind of really is indicative of how humanity could easily devolve if there are no rules of engagement. And because this is
Yeah.
like the wild, wild west, just in apocalypse form, there are no rules of engagement. It's
Yeah.
like it is what it is. So you got just like we have all these different little factions all over the place.
Hmm.
Everybody
Hmm.
is living according to what they think is right.
Hmm.
And what we think is right may not
May not be.
coincide with what y'all think is right. And then what we got
Right.
conflicts. And we not gonna
Yeah.
ain't nobody talking nothing out. It's
Uh,
just
s- I'm glad you said that, Rashad, because like I said, once again, watching reviews of last week episode where Abby killed Joel and everything like that. Another major change, apparently from the game to the show, is they never say you know how Abby gives her speech on why Joel she's doing this to Joel? They never say it in the game. They don't find out till later on why, you know what I'm saying? Why she killed or went after Joel.
so with that being in mind,
Mhm.
does does Dina know that?
Dina was drugged at that point, I think.
So yeah, so like
Yeah, right.
so the Jackson Hole clique, they still don't know
Yeah, right,
why.
right.
And
Yeah.
and Ellie may have like some inclination as to
Hmm.
why. Let's just say we going off the theory that she knows that she was supposed to die and
Hmm.
Joe didn't do the thing.
Hmm.
Of course, somebody coming back and randomly just murdering him would sound like revenge for what
Retribution.
happened. Don't
Hmm.
understand the personal connection,
Yeah.
because that was essentially that was her dad who was unarmed and
Hmm.
got murked. And the flashback to that was crazy too. So like,
Yeah. Yeah. They said you walked. They said you walked in and you just shot him in the head. Pow! I say, damn. I say, damn. He did.
I forgot
He
about
did.
that.
But thing is, he did that, but he didn't do that. He came in and was like, "No, we're not doing." He had a slight conversation, like, "No, we're not doing this," and then
Well, it
he,
was it, but it that shit was fast. It wasn't much talking going on.
yeah, it really won't. He really won't.
They gave
Joe,
that
Joe,
man no warning. It's like blah, blah.
Joe should have aired. Joe should have aired all of them out. They would have never knew.
And that's another thing too. We
Yeah,
like for some reason we be leaving witnesses behind. Like
right.
it should have easily just got rid of Dina and Ellie. This wouldn't be no show no more. You know what I'm
Mm-mm.
saying? Like that. There's
Yeah.
like people having these. Okay.
These Kaiser Soze moments where they want to leave one person to tell the story. Get out of here. Nobody gonna know what I did.
Nah, like just even when back to episode one when they was at originally, it's like, yo, we're not gonna go there and kill everybody. We're just killing this one person. And for some reason they really stuck to that. You know, they say true
Hmm.
to their own word. It's like, yo,
Hmm.
because if we don't, Ellie's gonna go just berserk on any and everybody. So they
Hmm.
prepared for that. That's why they had a little basically the tranquilizer for Dina. Shot her up with
Hmm.
that. She went rockabye baby. And then you know, they just subdued Ellie and
Hmm.
watched and let her watch her surrogate dad die. So yeah,
Hmm.
there's like man. So this episode did a lot of table setting for the next
And it did
four episodes.
a lot of plot layering too.
Yeah, they did
Hmm.
like how okay. I cannot wait till next episode
Hmm.
to see Tommy go off because I know Tommy feels a sense of responsibility for Ellie since, you know, Joel passed away.
Yeah, surrogate uncle.
Maria is not going to give a damn
Oh yeah.
because you have your child. Like your
Hmm.
that little beautiful mixed child right there, that's your child.
Hmm.
So, and we already voted. But you
Hmm.
know Tommy is going to get active eventually.
Rashad, am I my brother's keeper?
Yes, I am.
Mhm.
Yes, I
I am.
am.
I am.
New Jack City,
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, nah, man, like there's gonna be these next four episodes gonna be very
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
The only sad thing about this is only seven total.
Yeah. I think the next episode is going to be the a flashback or veer off episode to find out what the hell is going on with the WLF where that started. I think that's the episode that we're going to get our introduction to our boy Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, I think so too because this episode is written by somebody who I don't even think has ever written on the show before. So, Kate
Oh
Herring.
wow.
Yeah, so this could be a very
Hmm.
you know, flashback. We just talking, you know what I'm saying, dialogue heavy,
Hmm.
you know, between definitely
Yeah.
I definitely need to go ahead and
Like
see
probably
it.
I hope I wonder if it's going to be on the level of our favorite episode from last for the first season with the couple or
Yeah,
whatever,
either that or like
because that episode
that episode was great. The episode with them at the her first friend at the mall.
at the mall. Yeah.
It was a
Hmm.
funny callback because she was like, "Who the first person you
Yeah.
killed?" She was like, "That's a real effed up story."
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
not gonna
wrapped up
talk
story.
about that one.
We'll. She's that's a
Number
complicated
six.
thing. We'll talk about the second person. She's like, she was like,
And I thought
okay,
about,
all
I said,
right, yeah,
oh, yo, she got
yeah.
a
I had to
third
think. I said, who
friend.
was? It? I said,
Yeah,
oh,
I
that
said
was
her
her friend. They got
friend.
infected. She had to kill her. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So
yeah,
yeah,
man.
man, that's
That's
another great episode of TV for The
Mhm.
Last of Us season two. I it's just this shows keeps on coming up with ways to let you have like a lot of questions after it's over, and that's the marking of good television or movie watching. But yeah,
hmm
Wednesday and or Thursday, I don't know.
I'm gonna say Thursday. I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
that's what I'm saying. We're probably gonna shoot for
Yeah.
Thursday
Yeah.
with same with that crap. Andor season two,
Andor. Yeah.
episodes 4, 5, and 6. Um,
Yeah.
They are dropping in threes,
Yeah, and that's only
and
because Disney, I think they didn't trust the
I'm
whole
not
weekly
really
process.
sure. Because the ironic thing is they did that for the first season, and the
They did.
episodes were shorter.
Yeah, these
Yo,
episodes are
it
long.
was a strong hour and a half
Yeah,
of TV. I'm like, oh, I need to go to work. Like,
yeah.
but yeah, so that's up with that, and of course, next week Thunderbolts we were
Hmm.
reviewing that as well, and then
Hmm.
back over to The Last of Us. Looks like I'm. Do you know when you're gonna see Thunderbolts?
Probably, hopefully, Thursday evening, but
Cool. So
it might not be till Saturday,
yeah,
realistically, or whatever.
all
Because
right, no,
I'm
it's
actually
all
I be down there for a day down there.
no, it's all good. Oh,
Hmm.
thanks for letting me know. We'll
Hmm.
we'll probably try to get this out at least by like it depends Sunday because I ain't trying to do two episodes back to back on Monday. But yeah, we'll coordinate how we're gonna get this review out for y'all. But yeah, as I said several times, I'm gonna keep on plugging this. Go to the website
Oh.
theuponfurtherreview.com.
Hmm.
I put up like a quick 20 minutes of Tonio's take on Sinners. The entirety of that awesome episode we did is on the site.
Yeah,
We talked for
yeah,
like an hour, some change.
yeah.
That is on theuponfurtherreview.com. We only asking for your membership. The membership
Hmm.
is a very, very, very small price of $10 a month. For the
Hmm.
low, you can hear us talk about other things, be way more free flowing with conversation than on YouTube.
Hmm.
And we can also have you guys be more interactive. You guys can even pick what we talk about. If there's something that you love that we don't cover, but you say, hey, man, I would love to have your take on it, that's going to be the
Hmm.
place to actually get that done. Because sometimes over here on YouTube, a lot of niche stuff doesn't gain a whole
Hmm.
lot of traction. And it's not really going to be a fruitful endeavor for us. But if you want to just, hey, I love this thing. It could be something that
Hmm.
we don't watch at all. You can say, hey, man, I just want to hear what y'all talk about housewives. We'll watch it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard as hell, but we'll watch it and then we'll dissect that crap too. So let
Yeah,
us know.
give him the URL, Rashad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
theuponfurtherreview.com. Hit the
Hmm.
join button and let's get active, man. But we will
Hmm.
see you guys Thursday.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace out.